Good evening. Welcome to the June 3rd, 2021 meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. This meeting is being held via video teleconferencing in accordance with Governor Cuomo's Order 202.1. And until further notice, all of the board's meetings will be held remotely. So we ask the public to continually check the town's website for updates and new information. There are also options on the website for public comments and to pre-register to speak on public hearings. So please consider that for all future meetings. If you wish to view tonight's live meeting only, please do not join the Zoom meeting. Please go to the town's meeting portal, choose the meeting group from the drop-down on the left, and click on the live link at the top of the page. If you wish to be heard during a meeting, but did not pre-register, please go to the town's meeting portal, choose the meeting group from the drop-down on the left, and you will find the information required to join the Zoom meeting. With that, I'd ask you that you join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will be starting this meeting with the public hearings. We have applicants and members of the public standing by via Zoom webinar, which is being moderated by CTV. Charles Certain will mute the speakers until it is their time to give testimony before the board. Please be patient. If you find that you are having difficulties accessing the hearings, please visit the town clerk's meeting portal and click on the instructions link. Board members who must recuse themselves from any application will state so on the record and will be removed from the meeting until the end of the hearing. Also, there are a few public hearings and decisions that will not be heard tonight, being that they'll be adjourned. So please listen to hear when they will be rescheduled for. A reminder that applicants, agents, and members of the public speaking, other than attorneys, will be sworn in, will state their address for the record, and will offer their testimony as it relates to the application before the board. Members of the public are typically given a 3-minute time limit on their testimony, so please keep that in mind. Unless otherwise stated at the end of each hearing, all of these applications will remain open for written comments for all purposes until June 18th, 2021, when they can be sent via email, mail, and/or dropped off at Town Hall. Additionally, in accordance with the governor's order, these hearings will be recorded and will be posted on the town's website. And with that, I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Tuthill,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Mr. Kelly,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. And with that, we will get started with the agenda, starting with adjournments.
Okay, there are some changes to the agenda. Item 5 on the agenda is Kimberly McCready. I'm going to move that we re-advertise that application for our July 1st meeting.
Okay, it's a re-add, so we don't have to vote on
Second.
it.
I cannot believe that I just said that for the record.
That was like a test to see who's paying attention.
Yep.
He
I
passed.
failed.
Okay, item 8 on the agenda is 1201 Noyak Road LLC. That's going to be, I'll move to adjourn that to our July 15 meeting.
Okay, we need a second on that one.
I'll second that one.
Okay.
All
All right,
right.
Mr. Tuthill,
Aye.
Mr. Kelly,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
I'm gonna move on the decision calendar, the town of Southampton. I'm gonna move to reopen that to accept written submissions to June 17th.
Okay, so we start with the motion to reopen. So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Tuthill,
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Mr. Kelly,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, we're reopened.
All right, we're gonna keep it open to accept written submissions to June 17th. And with that being said, I'll now move to close it for determination on 6/17.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Tuthill,
All right,
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Kelly,
Aye.
Mr. Sessa.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Ralph and Mia Petrillo. That determination will not be prepared and ready until 6/17.
Okay, do we have a second?
Aye. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, 80 Cobb Road. I'm gonna move that we reopen that to accept written submissions.
Do we have a
Second.
second?
Second.
Mr. Tuthill,
All right,
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Mr. Kelly,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Sessa.
Recuse myself on that application.
Okay, chair votes aye.
and now I'll move to close 80 Cobb owner LLC for determination later this evening.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And then the following will be scheduled for determination at our June 17th meeting. That's Diego and Marlene Quispe, 85 Eastway LLC, and Barbara Swizlowski.
Do we
That's
have
the
a second?
motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
And then Frank Freddy, we're gonna hold that determination. I'll move to hold that determination over to our August 19th meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All right, now we're gonna go back to the beginning and the new applications. Thomas and Eva DeVito, 129 Shore Road, North Sea, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-76-2-16. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the town code for a proposed two-story dwelling on a non-conforming lot. 1, 330-11 residential districts table of dimensional regulations for a proposed required rear lot setback of 20.3 feet where 30 feet is required. 330-84D pyramid height law for a proposed encroachment in the amount of 821 cubic feet at the southwest side of the property and 418 cubic feet at the southeast side of the property, and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction.
Good evening. I guess, Eva, are you both, you and Tom going to be presenting the application? Oh, no, Sean is. Hey, Sean, how are you?
Hey, y'all doing?
Okay, you'll do it. Okay, excellent. All right, so I just have to swear you in. If you can state your name and address.
Sean Barron, 124 Pleasure Drive, Flanders, New York.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And do you want me to swear the applicants as well?
It's probably not necessary.
Okay, no problem.
I should quickly add, as far as any other relief necessary, there's also 80 cubic feet pyramid relief sought on the east side of the property.
Okay.
Cool. So basically, we're just
What's the total? So what's the total then?
the total is 1,319 cubic feet for the three sides.
1,319?
Yes, all said and done.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Yeah, and front yard relief from 30 feet to 25 feet. I mean, basically, we have a pretty constrained lot, the whole neighborhood.
Did you just say 25 feet?
The front yard from 30 to 25 feet, yes.
Okay.
We advertised it as 20.3.
I thought the
Sorry, the porch,
advertising for rear yard.
you're right, the porch is 20.3. I'm sorry.
20.3, that's what the survey says as well.
Right, so that's the front porch. The house is at 25, my bad.
Okay.
Good to see you, Sean.
Likewise. Keith.
It's been a long time, Sean.
Oh, yeah, I know, I'm just picking on all of you.
Barely recognized you.
Get a haircut, will you?
It's tick season, come on. So tight lot, I think it's pretty reasonable, variance relief we're asking for. It's not a big ask. We're moving away from the wetlands a little bit. We're getting a buffer where there wasn't one. We're getting a nice updated sanitary system, alternative sanitary system, and the neighborhood is full of similarly, lots that have similar, are similarly non-conforming, I should say.
Where's their buffer?
There's going to be a proposed buffer along the shoreline of the crosshatch area.
Oh, got it. Yep.
And that's per conservation, Sean?
Yeah, yes, there's not going to be 3 proposed. There's 1 proposed path. The structures in the buffer are being removed, but we're going to get rid of what's there and have a nice revegetated buffer.
And this property is in a flood zone?
Yes,
Okay, so we got wetlands and a flood zone?
yeah, so we're elevated. That's probably why we're getting some of that pyramid relief.
Want to walk us through the 5-part test, just so we can have that for the record?
Sure. You're going to make me read out of the application, but.
You could do it from memory if you remember it too.
Probably. So I think it won't cause an undesirable change because most of properties are improved similarly. There's a lot of, we submitted some stuff today that showed a bunch of other properties on this street that had a front yard down to as little as 15 feet. Not necessarily relief, excuse me, but are existing at 15 feet from the front yard. And if anybody cruised through the neighborhood, you can see that there's definitely some pyramid encroachment existing, and definitely some of those new constructions have pyramid encroachment as well. The benefits can't really be sought otherwise because of the flood zone. We got to get the house elevated. There's a 1-story house there now. They're just looking to increase the house to make it a little bigger because of the wetlands. They're trying to stay away from the wetlands as possible. We're unfortunately not conforming to the wetlands as good as we can do. And we have a wetland permit coming for what's mostly just some changes to the buffer. I would submit that the variance is not substantial considering the conditions in the neighborhood and what's already out there. I've seen big pyramid relief before. This isn't big pyramid relief. And likewise, the front yard setback is pretty nominal considering what we're trying to get a little further back.
Putting a new IA system in?
New IA alternative septic system, yeah, with a shallow leach field, which is kind of cool. It's better than just having the IA with a leaching pools. So this is
Containing all the rainwater runoff for the lot?
They're going into dry wells, yes, yes, sir.
Those don't exist now?
No,
Other variances granted in the area of similar size?
for sure.
Have you heard from any of the neighbors?
I actually didn't check with Candace. I've been staying away from town hall, but I don't know. I haven't heard personally now.
When do you expect the conservation board permit?
We're basically just working on the covenant.
Okay.
And we're waiting on surveys, which we just got. The most recent surveys were submitted to you guys.
Okay.
But he does have you have the resolution of approval though.
Yes, we do have an approved resolution. We just haven't finalized the paperwork.
Okay, excellent.
That's helpful.
All right, so we did have some comments from the building department. I'm not sure whether you saw them or not.
I did. That's where actually that 80 cubic feet of front yard relief came from.
Okay.
We've submitted revised plans as per Marjorie's recommendations.
Okay, very good. And as long as Marjorie's happy with them,
We want to make Marjorie happy.
What's the date on the revised plan, Sean?
Give me 1 second.
Sure.
Revised elevations are dated 5/10/21.
Okay.
Those are like the building elevation views, the pyramid relief and such.
Okay.
Surveys,
Wait a second. Can you just confirm that, Sean? Because she wrote her note on 5/17. So did you
probably
revise
what-
them again?
That might be when I submitted them, but the plans that I'm looking at have a date of 5/10. They probably went in on 5/17.
No, but what I'm saying is she wrote a note on 5/17. So did you already, are those revised plans that were submitted?
These are the revised plans I have from the architect that were the most recent that I submitted just the other day.
Okay,
We just want to make
Okay.
sure that the comments were addressed. So, I mean, I know you indicated you saw them. You tell me.
These are the same. I brought additional comments to town hall for y'all.
okay.
But what you submitted in the revision, I'm hoping it satisfies, addresses Marjorie's comments.
It does. That's, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, let me just interject real quick. Sean, yes, the plans you submitted on June 1st, they are dated May 10th, so I'm not sure if Mark just didn't redate the plan. But Marjorie still needs to look at these plans that were submitted the other day.
I had the architect was in direct correspondence with Marge based on her reports on, I trust they checked all the boxes.
Okay, but I'm
If they
just saying, I don't think he revised the date because I'm looking at your plan here.
Oh, no, I think
File.
I did the same plans. I just brought additional copies in, I think.
Okay, all right, well, she'll take a look at them sometime, I believe sometime next week,
Yeah,
Right.
we got
just to be sure.
whatever,
And if she needs something else, she needs them to be revised, she'll let you know that.
of course.
So it's going to be open anyway.
And then the revised surveys are. Really need to. The revised surveys are May 17, 20.
Okay. All right, and that's the same date,
2021.
2021, but that's the same date as Marjorie's comment. So as long as they're addressed, fine. If they're not, then you just, make sure that Marjorie's okay with what you're gonna,
Sure.
have the final version.
Can you just confirm what the setback relief is you're seeking?
So the porch, it's to 20.3 feet.
20.3.
And then total pyramid relief, 1319.
Yes.
Okay. Which is modest relief, considering how constrained this lot is.
It's the whole development is full of tiny rooms.
Yeah.
On the water.
Well, it's undersized and it's constrained.
With wetlands, yeah.
Okay, all right. Any other questions, members of the board? Or
Sean.
Anthony or
Yep.
Katie?
Yeah, Sean, do you know if the architect resolved the issue about the story? Is it still 2 stories?
I think they're calling it 3 stories for the purposes of putting in sprinklers.
For
It's
the
not
purposes of what?
fire. Once it's 3 stories, they put in sprinklers. So apparently they call it 3 stories. There's no living space or habitable space in the lower level because it's in a flood zone. That's why it's elevated. But apparently, based on some new interpretation, they're calling things like this 3 stories now, so they can include sprinklers. They can require sprinklers.
Okay, but if it's 3 stories, you may need relief for it being 3 stories.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if Marge didn't bring that up. I don't think in that.
Well, she did. She talked about it being in order for this level not to be considered a story, the plan shall be revised to show compliance with 330-5. So I'm just wondering if they were revised to address whether or not it's a story.
I think I can make a little clarification. I
Okay.
believe Marjorie spoke to Sean and possibly the architect prior to her signing the denial sheet. So the way that the plans were revised, which he's saying is dated May 10th, may satisfy that comment. But as I said before, she hasn't reviewed those yet. They were just submitted on I think Monday or Tuesday. So the revision of those plans may satisfy that comment. So I would just suggest to wait for something from her.
Yeah.
To see if it addresses it.
Okay, but Sean, just so you understand, it's got to be addressed with Marjorie, and if it turns out you need additional relief, whether it be for 3 stories or anything else, of course we'd have to reopen. You'd have to come back.
Sure, yeah, as far as it was explained to me, I think everything's all set.
Okay.
Good to see things haven't changed, Sean.
It's always something.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions of members of the board? Is there anyone from the public who's waiting to be heard on Zoom this evening in connection with the application of DeVito? DeVito, this is property located at 129 Shore Road in North Sea.
I have one.
Okay,
Mr. Mark. And you can put your video on, Mark.
Mark's the architect for the application.
He just raised his hand.
okay. Mark, we can't hear you. You're muted.
How's that?
Okay, there we go. Okay, you need to state your name and address for the record.
Mark Matthews, 223 Shore Road, Southampton, New York.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. If you want to give us your comments.
I did talk to Marjorie about the story issue, and the bottom line is that there's no issue with the height of the building or the stories. It's just that Southampton town now requires any building that looks like a 3-story building, which basically is defined as that the upper story is more than 6 feet out of the ground, then it has to be sprinkled. And we've written her a note saying, we know that and we will do that. And the building documents will show that.
Right,
So-
but if that's their determination, you're gonna need relief, or you're gonna have to request relief from this board if the building department is deeming this to be 3 stories. And that's the purpose that you need the sprinkler for.
That would have to be added to our request, yes. But we've been through this a number of times with the town, and that's the way it's been. It's not that it's habitable space, it's just that they're taking a conservative, appropriate approach to make them sprinkled.
But if you're in listen, if you're in a flood zone, the town code allows the first level not to be a story if it has a minimum amount of, space, if it's just used for elevation purposes. So that's what we're talking about. I mean,
No.
maybe we keep it open and we wait to hear back from Marge.
Well,
If we're gonna give,
I think we could do that, and I can certainly talk to her tomorrow to get it clarified. But the rule is if the first floor is above, more than 6 feet above the existing grade outside the house, then it's called the story, period. Even if it's not habitable. And I'll speak with her and ask her to put some language together, and then we can modify our request. But Sean will do that to include the story issue.
Well, if it turns out that you need relief for a 3-story structure, okay, if that's the direction that this is going in, then speaking for myself, I think this thing needs to be re-advertised so that the neighbors know if that additional relief is being requested. That is not, to me, relief that should be under any other relief necessary. But
I
let's see what
agree.
Marjorie says.
I agree. I just think it needs to be, we've had several of these come in the FEMA zone. And so we've dealt with this quite regularly. There is an exemption under FEMA to not consider that a story. So for some reason, if you're in FEMA and elevating for FEMA, maybe you're elevating to a height more than 2 feet above what's required by FEMA, and that's why they're considering it a story. So I think we need that information to be able to review.
We can supply that to you.
Yeah.
Well, most of that information as far as the elevations is provided to the board with the views, right? We have, it's in the elevation views with the building plan.
Yeah, but I mean, the relief that's been advertised for is modest relief, relatively modest pyramid relief, relatively modest setback relief. But to me, 2 stories to 3 stories, hopefully you're not going to need that relief. But if you were to need that relief, if that's what Marjorie concludes, then we got to reopen. We're going to have to re-advertise.
We just got to know.
Neighbors know. Yeah.
Sure, if that's what we gotta do, that's what we gotta do. I trust you to, well, whatever we gotta do.
Okay. Okay, Mark, you have anything else you want to tell us?
No, we'll circle back with Marjorie tomorrow and get you the paperwork you need to be comfortable.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And it needs to be re-advertised.
Well, Helen, only if they need 3 stories.
Yes.
What we're gonna do is I think we're gonna close it except for written subs. But if it turns out Marjorie says you need relief for 3 stories, then the whole thing's gonna be reopened.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. It could be as simple as simply raising the grade around the house slightly, which is what Marjorie suggested. So to shorten the distance from the grade to the floor above. So we'll talk to her tomorrow and get to the bottom of it.
All right, well, I'll move to close the public hearing, leaving it open for written submissions only until June 18th with a decision on July 1st.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Have a good night, y'all.
Just so you guys know, if you have to re-advertise for the 3rd floor, that timeline will change, so.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. The whole thing will be reopened. Okay. All right, Mr. Kelly,
Aye.
Mr. Tuthill,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Ms. Obsessa.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you all for your comments. Have a good rest of your night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 2 on the agenda is Air Zapata, 1087 North Sea Road, North Sea, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-97-1-29. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the town code. 330-76D, placement of accessory building structure and uses in all districts, and 330-83C yards to allow the proposed swimming pool to be located within the minimum required side yard for the principal building and a non-conforming lot and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction.
Okay. Good evening, Kevin.
Good evening, all. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I just have to swear you in, so if you can state your name and address, please.
Kevin Springer, 61 Channing Cross, Hampton Bays, New York, 11946.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. If you can tell us about the application.
Okay, pretty straightforward, I would think, but you never know. We have a non-conforming lot facing North Sea Road, and we have proposed a rather small pool, 14 by 28. And the main reason for this is because to put it behind the house, where the house starts on the south end and slopes towards the driveway, it's at least a 7 to 8 foot drop. And it's also a little narrow back there. So we took the pool, we made it a little bit smaller, made sure we were 50 feet off our road, we're off our side yards, rather small pool. So it's not really, it's not going to change the character of the neighborhood anyway. We do have, we have greenery all around it already, around the property, and fencing. I don't think, there was a couple of notes I know that from the building department. The first was that the shed needed to be relocated. That already has been relocated, just has not been shown because in case we have to do anything else. They came up that the front porch needs a building permit along with the trellis. Those will be probably put in this week. We are waiting on the drawings from the architect for the front porch. Let's see, what else did she put in there? I don't know if she put anything else. There was no other relief requested. I don't think we need any more as far as I can recall. Oh, she did ask how much of the pool is in the required side yard. The pool itself is 392 square feet, and 294 of it is in the required side yard. So most of it is, it's 3/4 of the pool is actually in the required side yard, but there really is no other place to put it. Thus the reason for scaling it down, and that's really pretty much.
All right, Kevin, you're gonna take care of the survey, correct? Update the survey to
Yeah.
show that?
Yeah, he's actually working on the surveyor is actually
And
working on the
take care of the
percentage
shed.
here.
Take care of the shed at the same time, please.
Yep, sheds, yes, that's all gonna be done at once, so that we can,
All right.
then we're gonna use that survey to actually put in for the 2 building permits. Well, it's gonna be 1 permit with 2 different things on it.
So Kevin, I had a couple of comments. First of all, I wanted to ask whether the neighbor to the south, whether you've heard from the neighbor to the south?
Have not heard from any neighbors, and I believe I've received 5 cards out of 6 back already. She was one of them.
Okay, and then the other question, because I gotta ask the question, this
That's
is
okay.
not a situation where we have, 2 front yards. Often when we have pools, requests for pools in side yards or front yards, it's because there are 2 front yards. That's not the case here. And I know you indicated that it had to do with the topography with what is a very small backyard. So maybe you can talk about that a little bit more, why the pool can't be fit into the
And
backyard.
maybe we could pull up a survey so everyone could see it.
Yep. So looking at the survey, it looks to me, I understand there's topography issues, but it looks to me like a pool, the proposed pool could fit in the rear yard
It
behind the
could,
residence.
it could fit if we didn't have, one end of the pool would be almost 8 feet out of the ground. And then there's also really no place to put anything around it once you got to be 5 feet off the house. And we have some window wells there, which is already an issue, which would push it even back further. So the further back we go towards the north, in this case, would be even harder. And coming this way, it's going to be tight on the line. To the west is an actual flag lot driveway. The pool, as proposed, actually to the south there is, as you can see, is bordering their driveway. I mean, really, the main reason is that we just have a really bad, it just slopes straight down.
But they could fit one though. It just would
What's that?
require, it would fit, it just requires more work is the issue.
Well, yes, it requires a lot of work and a lot of money. And then it's still, if you look at it, I mean, it's not going to really have any much of a look to it because can't really get any grass or anything around it. So, I mean, I can give you, I can show you pictures of the slope
Yeah.
if that helps
I
you.
was going to suggest that. Yeah, pictures of the slope would be helpful. And the other thing that would be helpful, an estimate as to, what it would cost to put the pool in a conforming location in the rear yard.
Okay.
Showing the financial hardship that
I
would
can
be
do that.
created.
That's
Yeah.
not a problem.
Yeah.
Um,
But, like I said before, it's rare that we have an application for a pool in a side yard or a front yard when there isn't a situation with 2 front yards
Understood.
And when there's a conforming location.
and the conforming location.
Okay. I can get you all that. Any other questions?
And I'm not exactly sure, Kevin, where the rest of the board is on this. I'm not necessarily leaning heavily one way or the other, but I had to ask these questions.
Well, like I said, I have no, I'd be more than happy to show you the real hardship is the slope of the property.
Yeah.
So, but I'll get you, I'll email right to Candace to forward to everyone. And in the meantime, we'll start taking care of the other issues that we already have.
Yeah. The pictures will be very helpful because it's
Well, I'll use pictures and I'll use also a measuring stick. So you can.
Sounds good. When would you like to come back?
What's that?
I think we're looking then, Mr. Grossman, if there's a date to come back.
Yep, we can do that, but first, why don't I ask if there's anyone from the public? First of all, any other questions or members of the board? Is there anyone from the public who's waiting to be heard this evening on Zoom in connection with the application of Zapata? This is for 1087 North Sea Road in North Sea. If you are waiting to be heard, this would be the time to let us know by raising your hand. Charlie? Anybody waiting?
I see no hands.
No hands. Okay. All right. If not, Keith, cheers.
Listen, you guys want them to come back again, or can we do it through written submissions or what?
Well, Brian wants them to come back.
Brian
I'm not
wants
sure
them
where
to
the
come
board
back.
members are.
I would just add, I mean, he doesn't have to, but he can show all those things. And if we have more questions, then he runs the risk that we have to reopen it. But however, the rest of the board feels.
I agree with Brian.
Okay. So that's due to reopen. Oh, I'm sorry, to keep it open.
Fine, it's fine. You guys want him to come back, he comes back. That's all. I'm not gonna argue with people. Okay, when's he coming back? When you want him back?
Okay. Kevin?
7-1?
7-1 is our next meeting. We do have some room on, well, I don't know, actually 6/17 is our next meeting.
I'll
You
take
want to come
that.
back 6/17 or 7/1?
6:17, please. I'll have everything ready.
All right, I'll move to hold the public hearing over to June 17th.
Second.
Mr. Tudhill,
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Kelly,
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Votes aye. Thanks so much, Kevin.
All right, thank you all. Have a good night.
Thanks. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Item 3 on the agenda is Jennifer Rossi, 3832 Noyak Road, Noyak, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-15-3-55. Applicant requests relief from Town Code 330-115C, continuance for a principal total side yard setback of 27.4 feet, where 40.3 feet is existing for a proposed one-story addition to an existing one-story dwelling or a non-conforming lot, and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction.
Good evening, Shannon. Unless you're an attorney, you just have to swear you in.
Yep.
If you can state your name and address for the record.
Shannon McCaffrey, 170 Main Street, Wayne Scott, New York, 11975.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. If you can tell us about the application.
Okay. Good evening. We're here discussing the property located at 3832 Noyak Road. The property is currently zoned R20, and it is undersized for the zoning district as the lot area is 12,375 square feet and has a lot width of 82.5 feet. The applicant is proposing a one-story addition to increase the functionality of the dwelling for her two sons and herself. Currently, the property contains a single-story house that has 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The proposed addition is for an additional bedroom and bathroom. 136 square feet of this proposed addition is breaching the setback by 5 foot 7 inches. During the design phase, it was the applicant's goal to have only the minimum size addition to meet the needs of her family. This design was carefully looked at to maintain as much of the original structure and preserve the backyard without unnecessary square footage. Noyak Road can be very busy at times, so keeping the backyard intact is important to be able to have a safe area to be used by your young children. This property was before this board in 2018 for a single and separate determination by the previous owner. It was found that the properties were in single and separate ownership. This allows us relief pursuant to Town Code Section 330-115D. However, it's important to note that this property was a part of the Wickatuck Hills subdivision that was filed in 1946. This subdivision was done if the subdivision was done after 1957, it would have been Zone D residents, and the proposed addition would be eligible for the benefits of this zoning district. The grant of this variance will not cause an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood. The proposal is consistent with scale and style of the neighborhood. There is also no perceived adverse effect on the environment from this proposal, as most of the addition requiring a variance is over the existing hardened area for the driveway right now. And we're also going to be proposing an IA septic system. Other designs were considered, but there is not a more feasible design that meets the project goals that would not require a variance. This design is the most logical and cost-effective proposal to achieve the goal of a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom dwelling as a 1-story residence and maintain the rear yard. This variance is not significant. Our proposal is consistent with the 1957 zoning. The proposed structure is minimal in size and consistent with other dwellings in the neighborhood. And I'm here to answer any other questions.
Okay, well, it sounds like a modest house, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, modest house, basically just total side yard relief. I guess my only question is, wanted to ask you about building department comments. Before I do that, have you heard from the neighbors to the north and the south?
No one has reached out to us directly.
Okay. And then we just had a short comment from the building department from Marjorie Riley, building inspector. And she just stated that the applicant shall provide a letter from the architect stating in square feet how much of the proposed addition is encroaching into the side yard.
Yes, I had the architect write up that letter and I dropped them off, I think around like May 19th or May 20th. And so it's just 136 square feet.
Okay. All right. I didn't have anything else. Are there any other questions or members of the board?
Adam, I had a question. In the zoning appeal that you granted in, what year was that? 2018, it said owner has a period of 1 year from the date to convey the subject premises of neighboring tax lot 54 to separate ownership. Is that something that's a concern?
Well, why don't we ask Shannon, do you know whether that's been done?
Yes, that's been done. The applicant now purchased the property back in 2019, so it's been changed and she doesn't own the neighboring property.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something we do in the single and separate decisions.
Okay.
Yeah. Just ask them to basically get rid of the common ownership after we render the decision within a year. Okay. All right. Any other questions from members of the board? Is there anyone from the public who's waiting to be heard this evening in connection with the application of Razi? This is for property located at 3832 Noyak Road in Noyak. If you are waiting to be heard on Zoom, this would be the time to let us know by raising your hand.
I see no hands.
Okay. If not, Susan, it is yours.
We're going to close and have written submissions June 18th with a decision on July 1st.
Second.
Okay. Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa,
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Mr. Kelly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you for your comments this evening, Shannon. Have a good rest of your night.
You as well, thank you.
Item 4 on the agenda is Ellis Jeffrey Tunkel. The address is 18 Bayview Road in Noyak, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-19-1-15. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the town code: 330-84D, pyramid height for proposed encroachment in the amount of 117 cubic feet, 110 cubic feet on the northwest side and 7 cubic feet on the northeast side for a proposed 1-story addition to an existing dwelling, and 2, 330-76D, placement of accessory building structures and uses in all districts, and 330-83C yards to allow the detached garage to be located within the minimum and total side yard to the principal building and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction.
Good evening. Katie, I guess you're going to be presenting the application?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and are you an attorney?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, then I just have to swear you in. So if you can just state your name and address, please.
Katie Frank, 243 Little Fresh Pond Road, Southampton, New York.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, thank you. If you can tell us about the application.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Katie Frank from Kriegson PC, representing Alice Jeffrey Chutkel, the owner of 18 Bayview Road. Applicant is seeking relief from the Town Code Section 76D and 83C for placement of an accessory structure within the minimum and total side yard of the principal structure, and Section 84D for pyramid relief of 122 cubic feet for a proposed one-story addition to the existing house. An undesirable change will not be produced by the granting of these variances. Because applicant is proposing to build the garage separate from the house, he's able to preserve a large black cherry tree in the front yard. The minor variance for pyramid relief will not be noticeable from the street, as applicant is only seeking 7 cubic feet of relief from the northeast side of the house, which faces the street. The remaining 115 cubic feet of requested relief is for the northwest side, but the property is so heavily vegetated that it won't be visible from the property next door. In fact, the neighbor to the northwest has actually submitted a letter of support for this application. There's no other way to achieve the benefit sought because of the lot size and current location of the existing structure lying so close to the property line. The granting of this variance will have a positive effect on the environment. Applicant is going to be updating the septic system to be the new innovative alternative system. Additionally, as mentioned before, there's a very large black cherry tree on the property. So by constructing the garage separate, he's able to preserve that. For these reasons, applicant is seeking variance from the town for his proposed single-story addition and detached garage. I'm joined here tonight by Sean Basie, the architect on the project. And we both thank you for your time and consideration. We'd like to address any questions you have at this time.
Yeah, I have a couple of things. The first thing is, Katie, you mentioned 122 cubic feet of pyramid relief?
Yes.
Okay. I have in the, at least in what was advertised, 117 cubic feet.
Yes, so Marjorie got comments back to us, and then the architect redid the elevations. And so the plans that I submitted last week are the revised plans based on the turn down letter. So the cubic feet was increased to a total of 122.
Okay.
Very minor.
Yes, very minor.
Yeah, very minor. The other thing I just wanted to mention, I'm not sure whether you had a chance to see Marjorie Riley's comments to us that are dated May 13th. Did you receive those?
Yes, and the architect redid the plans and we submitted them.
Okay. As long as they're satisfactory to Marjorie, we should be fine. But I think that's what she was looking for, is to just have some revisions to the plans. Just want to make sure there isn't anything else. He was also asking that the survey be revised.
Yes, and you guys will have surveys later this week.
Okay. All right. Well, it is modest relief. I don't know whether the lot is constrained at all. I don't think it is, but it's nevertheless, you know, pretty modest relief under the circumstances.
Half a quarter wood.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Keith.
In honor of Herbie, I'll say half a quarter wood.
Half a quarter wood. Katie, have you heard from any of the neighbors?
Actually, yes, the neighbor to the northwest reached out and gave a letter of support. And so if you see like where we're requesting the pyramid relief in the back corner of the house, that neighboring parcel, there's a lot of vegetation there, but David Sherwood gave a letter of support for this application. So he would be the only neighbor that would really, see the effects of us requiring the pyramid relief. We haven't heard from any other neighbors directly.
Okay.
You mentioned there's a lot of vegetation.
Yes.
Is this something that the owner is willing to sustain and keep maintaining?
Yes. Actually, the owners, they're both very into gardening and preservation. So they will absolutely be upkeeping the vegetation on the property.
Well, you said they're trying to save a tree too, right?
Yes, it's a beautiful, large black cherry tree.
Mm-hmm. So be it.
All right. Any other questions from members of the board? Is there anyone from the public who is waiting to be heard in connection with the application? And sorry if I'm mispronouncing this, Tunco, for property located at 18 Bayview Road in Noyak. If you are waiting to be heard on Zoom, this would be the time to let us know by raising your hand.
And I see no hands.
No hands. Okay. If not, Brian, it's yours.
Brian, before you close, hi, Katie.
Hi, Candace.
Hi. When you have a moment, just have Alex check his email. I believe Marjorie just sent another email this afternoon to Alex and the architect with respect to the revised drawings. She just had a few questions, so just reach out to her.
Okay, I will. I'll reach out to Marjorie tomorrow.
Okay.
So my motion is to close the public hearing, leaving it open for written subs. The written sub date, Katie's going to be June 17th with a decision on July 1.
We're doing June 18th just because that's the day after the meeting.
Okay, so June 18th for
June
written
18th.
subs, decision July 1.
Second.
Okay, Mr. DeSessa,
Aye.
Mr. Kelly,
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you for your comments this evening. Have a good rest of your night.
Thank you, members.
Item 6 on the agenda is Mia Rowe, 872 Millstone Road, in Bridgehampton, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-36-1-20.26. Applicant requests relief for the following buildings and structures that were constructed without the benefit of building permits. 1, to legalize the location of the 20 by 53.4 feet in-ground swimming pool with waterfall. 330-11 residential district's table of dimensional regulations for an accessory front yard setback of 38.8 feet, where 70 feet is required. And 330-76D, placement of accessory building structures and uses in all districts. And 330-83C, yards, to allow the swimming pool to remain within the total side yard for the principal dwelling. 2, to legalize the portion of the patio on the north side of the swimming pool. 330-11, for an accessory front yard setback of 46 feet plus or minus where 70 feet is required. To legalize the portion of the patio on the west side of the swimming pool. 330-76D, placement of accessory building structures and uses in all districts. And 330-83C, yards, to allow this portion of the patio to remain to remain within the total side yard for the principal dwelling at a setback of 21.7 feet. Southeast corner and 30 feet. Southeast corner, 21.7 feet and 30 feet southwest corner. And 4, to legalize the location of the 10.5 by 20-foot shed. 330-76D, placement of accessory building structures and uses in all districts. And 330-83C, yards, to allow the shed to remain within the total side yard for the principal dwelling at a setback of 32 feet, plus or minus.
Board has jurisdiction. Looking for somebody from Burke and Sullivan.
I
Maybe
have
Tim
no,
McCully.
oh, okay, I got it. Okay, they're coming in now.
Yep.
Kate Murphy. I'm going to be here. Tim McCully asked me to present this application tonight. So hopefully I will present it the way he would present it. This property is in the CR 200 zoning district, but it's in a subdivision that allowed you to use CR 40. It's 59,979 square feet, including the flagpole portion. And it's accessed by a common driveway. The property, the lot to the north is a residence. The owner of that lot has consented to this application and the consent was submitted for the record. The property to the south and west is owned by the town of Southampton and is designated as open space. And it's not subject to development. The last property to the east is owned in part by David Jackson, and I believe he may be on the Zoom meeting. Briefly, Tim McCulley had a couple of telephone conversations with Mr. Jackson. Initially, he expressed concern from the wall in front of the pool. There's a wall, if you look in front of the pool. And that's the closest to his residence. And there was concern about the integrity of this construction. So Tim forwarded to Mr. Jackson an engineering report prepared by Steve Lemensky of Southampton Engineering, which was provided to the building department as part of the building permit process. So during the conversation, Mr. Jackson told Tim that he wasn't objecting to the pool, but he was concerned about the wall, which you believe we addressed that. However, if he wants to speak about it, that's fine, of course. And while we're on the subject of the wall, apparently the stone wall is over 4 feet high. That's why the engineer's report was requested. If in fact it is higher than 4 feet, the applicant may need a variance for this in addition to the other variances we have to address here.
And Candace or Karen, can you guys put a survey up just so everyone watching can see what we're talking about?
I guess, Candace, can you put it up? I don't. Okay. Yes.
So
Okay,
how
great.
tall do we think this wall is?
I don't have that information. That's the thing. It has to be, it may be over 4 feet.
I understand, but we need to know the height.
Okay.
Obviously, if it's under 4 feet, good. If it's over 4 feet, I'm not sure what the board's going to do.
Can you zoom in on that, Candace, please?
That would, you see, it's by the southeast kind of corner there in front of the pool. You'll see a stone wall.
And this application is a whole lot of as-built structures.
Yeah.
So somebody just, and we're going to talk about it, decided to do all this work without approvals, without permits. I understand that. I think the pool had a building permit.
Yes, it did have a building permit, the pool.
Yeah.
And
It just went in the wrong location?
well, what happened is, I guess Marge found that the previous owner, you get to pick what your front yard is. So there must have been some confusion. I guess if you look at the pool as being in the front yard, then we need a setback because it should be, 75 feet back. In the southern part, it meets the side yard. But yeah, we're requesting from 38.8 feet to 70 because that, I guess, was considered the front yard. But somehow it got a pool permit because I don't know I don't know what went on. I guess the previous owner was able to get a pool permit because I think they might have said that the yard was someplace else. So, something happened. I don't know, but this is what where we're at. But yes, it did have a permit and it expired.
Yeah, and the permit shouldn't have been issued in the first place.
Yeah, that's
Basically. I mean,
yes, that's basically what appears to happen from the notes
yeah.
that I have here.
But then we have other structures that never had anything at all.
Okay. I'm just going to continue.
Patio, shed.
It's a lot of, you're right. There's a lot of things going on here.
A lot of things going on, not a lot of permits.
Yeah. Okay. So we got the front of the swimming pool needs a front yard setback of it's 38.8 and it should be 70. So that's one. variance there. It's been placed in the front yard, though it did have a permit, it expired. The total side yard for the principal building to allow the pool to remain, that would be 330-83C. Now for principal, the side, the side yard is 20. So we have the pool here at, if you look at the south, it's 21.7, it's 21.7. There's a patio there that's also really 21.7. The 30, just wanted to point out, goes to the house. So that patio is, that's something to point out there. So anyhow, there's also legalizing the west side of the swimming pool, which that has to have a, well, I guess it meets it. They're saying 30 feet. Well, I just pointed that out. Sorry. Now moving on, there's a shed that's in the opposite area, kind of by the driveway there. There's concrete parking. It's a 10.5 by 20 shed that doesn't have a permit. It is the distance from the north. Tim talked to the surveyor today. It's actually 33 feet, but that would have to be put on the survey. I'm just testifying to that. And it's, and then it has the other dimension in the east side of 30 feet. But that was built without, that was put there without a permit. And, so that's something that I believe it's, I guess if it's in the rear, I think it meets the setbacks, right? If the front, this is in the side and rear, but it doesn't have a permit. Okay, so moving right along, in October 2002, the board granted relief to allow the principal structure to have a rear yard of 43.2 feet. And that would be, there's a 42.8 if you go downward, I guess south of the shed we just talked about. It's 42.8 feet, and then it's 45.5. So that's just the one story, but yeah, I mean, it's part of the main house. So that is, that's off by, well, it's not the exact distance. At the end of 2019, the applicant filed to renew the building permit for the pool. And that time, the reviewer uncovered the 2002 variance that the pool was in an area designated as a front yard. Okay, and although this is a flag lot, which allows the applicant to designate each area on either the front, rear, or side, the prior owner called the property line on the west side a rear yard and sought a rear yard variance for the house as constructed. So based on that decision, the building department has determined the area where the pool is being opposite the designated rear yard, and it's a front yard instead. Let's see. The dwelling has a finished basement and it has a certificate of compliance for renovation. The dwelling has a CO. Let's see, in 2016, it was issued a demo to the existing pool to build a pool measuring 14 by 32 with a spa. That permit was amended to allow a larger pool, 20 by 50, and a spa slightly smaller, 6 by 10, which I see is not there's no measurement on that.
When was that amendment, Karen? When was that amendment?
January 25th, 2017. Is that correct?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
I think it is. I mean, that's in the record here. I just,
But
as I said,
you said it was supposed to be a 20 by 50 pool. It's a 20 by 53.4 pool.
yes, that's,
Yes.
yes. So that makes it closer to the front yard. So I'll have to check that. Okay. After the permit was issued, several inspections were completed by the building department without the reference of the pool being in the front yard, which, was not correct, but I understand they have a lot of inspections to do. So that's what happened. And comparing the survey for the proposed pool made by John Borowski, last dated 1/6/16, and it was submitted as part of this application. The pool is situated exactly as proposed on the pool application for the building department as part of a plan review for a separate application. In addition, I guess the application was submitted December 2019. It said you have an expired pool permit that needs to be reviewed. So again, that's why we're asking for relief because of the ZBA determination D11055, which designated the rear yard. So it needs a variance. And technically, the applicant will need a variance to maintain the pool in the required front yard. I'm not familiar with that, but that's what Tim said. So the notice generated stated that the pool and patio are within the required side yard for a principal structure. And we're not sure how the patios are located in the required side yard or total side yards, since these structures are in the front yard. And I don't know if the patios, if it matters, if they're at ground level, if that's an issue. But it's here in the notes. So they need setback relief for the patio, which I don't see. He's saying 46 feet where 70 feet is required. That isn't notified on, that isn't on the, that dimension is not on the survey I see here. So that would be something else that would have to be added. And then for legalizing the shed, hopefully the building department will consider it to be in the required side yard for the principal structure. And again, the total side yard for principal structure in R40 is 60 feet. So it definitely, meets that. And the principal structure along the southern line is 30 feet. So the shed where it locates meets the setback for CR40, but requires a variance of 32 feet because we have 33 feet and we have 30. So we need it to be 60 feet. So that would be, I guess, a 3 feet variance we need for the total, side yard. Looking at GIS, the permits were issued, and the initial pool permit probably shouldn't have been issued because it was in a front yard, and it wasn't picked up. But anyhow, this is, the benefits of this, changing that, outweighs any detriment to nearby properties or the neighborhood, because again, it does have, it is adjacent to preserved open space, and believed or worked out, Tim worked out the issue with the neighbor, Mr. Jackson. So I think hopefully I presented all the variances.
You did, and thank you for going through all of that. Now, how did these structures go up, other than the pool? How were the structures put into the property, added to the property without permits? Who did that? Was it a contractor? Was it current owner, a prior owner? Do we know the time frame?
I believe, let me take a look. I believe it was a private, I know we had to submit the deed.
Yeah.
For this application.
Yeah, the deed is February 14th, 2015. And then
Oh,
there's
really?
a bunch of certificates of compliance. The
Okay.
application for the building permit in 2016 and certificates of compliance in 2017.
Okay, so, I guess that, the prior decision for the ZBA was not, they did not, I guess, consider it. They just did things assuming a different front yard.
Yeah, but they also did things without permits. And if it's someone who's a licensed professional who was suggesting that they put up structures without permits, we want to know about it. I'm speaking for myself, but there's a lot of stuff that went on in this property. Yes, there was an error with the permit for the pool, but other than that, there's other stuff that went on the property without permits. So if we have someone who's familiar with what transpired and how these structures went up without permits, I'd like to hear from that person or those people who have knowledge.
I understand. I guess we'll have to adjourn to the next meeting and I can get whoever did that because I don't have that information.
I understand.
And
I understand that.
And I don't think it was submitted either. So
No, yeah, and
I was just happy to get through this far. Now,
I understand.
I'm sorry, flag lots are very interesting. I mean, you get to pick your front yard and then people, whether they, accidentally pick the wrong front yard, I don't know.
No, and Tim handed you this application, so I understand that as well, and I appreciate that. and thank him for that.
Thank you for listening to me, and hopefully I was able to explain a few things. Yeah, the pool where it is, I guess to put it more over behind just where the I guess it says pool equipment steps. I guess over there is where the septic is. And I think that's on an older survey, which is in the record. But I guess there's a water line going straight through. But yeah, the pool's pretty big and it's in the front yard. I mean, that's a definite. And as for the shed, that's pretty big. So.
So we're gonna need to have someone come in to explain how this all happened. In addition, I would recommend, Kieran,
yes,
if you haven't done so already, that you get an estimate to legalize the structures, what it would cost. Not because I'm advocating that that occur, but to establish the financial impact on the property owner should the application be denied.
Okay, I will do that. I will get someone to explain for the next meeting, and I will get estimates to legalize everything that I've asked for to get a variance. So I appreciate you explaining that to me, and I will work on that with Tim and get that information for you. Hopefully at the next meeting or whatever the next available meeting is. I don't know if there's anybody from the public. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to rush.
Well, and I wanted to also ask other questions from members of the board, or Katie or Anthony.
Yeah, I think for the next hearing too, somebody in your office should, take a look at the building department file, because the survey that's submitted with the building permit for the pool doesn't doesn't show this pool at all. And I don't know that that's right either, but it's, you know, the survey that you guys submitted with the pool is not the survey that we have attached to the building permit for the pool.
Right, and I think it was
So it's not-
amended, but I'll find out. I'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, because it's not totally correct to say the building permit was issued for this pool. I don't see anything that, I don't see any
It was
surveys that
for
show that.
For a pool,
A
but
pool.
not what,
Yeah.
yeah, was
Yeah,
Yeah, so
originally provided.
it's not an oversight as to what the yards are. I mean, nothing was built pursuant to anything that was issued.
I understand. No, I'm not-
Even the prior variance that established the yard, if you read that variance, talks about a house being built without a permit.
And also, if we get something that shows what the wall height is.
Yes, yes.
So we have a few things for you to do, Karen.
Yes.
Any other questions from members of the board? Is there anyone from the public who is waiting to be heard in connection with the application of Row? This is for property located at 872 Millstone Road in Bridgehampton. If you would like to be heard, this would be time on Zoom. Time to let us know by raising your hand.
No hands.
No hands. Okay. So Candace, can we put it on for the next meeting, or is that a little tight? And Kieran, also, maybe you need more time.
Well, I would suggest the first meeting in July.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Because I have a lot of things to track down with Tim.
Okay.
So I want to get you everything you need. So.
Okay, and I
So
appreciate
that would be July 15th?
No, July, we can do July 1st unless you want July 15th.
I'll do July 15th.
Okay. All right.
That would, yeah, because,
We'll give you plenty of time.
yeah, we have to
There's a
track
lot
people down.
There's a lot to deal with here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay. All right.
Hey,
So I
Thank
would,
you. Thank you very much.
no problem. Thank you.
Okay.
So I would move,
Tell Tim, don't be scared of us.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
He did a
Thank
good
you.
job setting you up.
Okay, thank you. All right. All right, good night.
good night. Okay, so I would move that we adjourn the application of Row for all purposes until our July 15th meeting.
Second.
Mr. Todd Hill,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Mr. Kelly,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Sessa,
Aye.
votes aye.
Okay, we're on to the holdover applications. Item 7 on the agenda is Round Dune Inc., 101 Dune Road in East Quogue, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-385-2-14.
Okay, we have Karen Hoag and we have Aaron Tertunian.
Aram is not respond. Oh, there he is. Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Aram Tertunian, First Coastal Corporation, West Hampton Beach, New York. I've been previously sworn in, but if you'd like to do it again, I'm available.
No, that's okay. We have your name and address. We know who you are, and we're all good. Thank you.
Thanks very much. We delivered some material to the board last week, which corresponded to information that the board had requested of us. I'll just briefly review that material, and then Ms. Hoag will run through the 5-part test, and then we're happy to answer any questions that the board may have. In your packet, we submitted our certificate of compliance from the Southampton Town Board of Trustees for completing the project consistent with that permit. Member Tuttle had requested some up-to-date drone footage or aerial footage of the site. There are several photos that we've included in the package that show the current condition of the beach and that there is no increased erosion either at the site of the subject property or adjacent to it. We also submitted our most recent monitoring report that we do periodically after coastal storms. And we have actually included all of our monitoring reports that we've done to date. We also did some additional work based upon conversations that we had at our previous meeting. One of which was to look at what has the round dune been doing over time and how effective has it been. And you'll note that since 1998, they've spent over $500,000 placing sand in front of these buildings, only for all of that sand to wash away and for the buildings themselves to be threatened with being undermined prior to taking the action for which we're asking this board to extend our emergency permit. I think that they've shown a true commitment to undertaking sand placement in a significant manner, and that sand placement alone is not working at this site, and that the action they took to preserve their buildings was absolutely necessary, and that there is a need to maintain that condition until a larger beach restoration project can be built in this area. We've also given a memo and some supporting documentation about what it would take to relocate these buildings. There was a conversation between and amongst board members, well, why don't you just move the buildings? And so we did some investigation on that. And in the memo that's attached, you'll see some of our reasoning. We didn't go into elaborate detail because it's really really quite straightforward in the sense that there simply is nowhere to move these buildings. The only areas that are open to move them are currently occupied by the sanitary system, but we clearly cannot move the buildings onto the sanitary system. The other thing is that in order to move the buildings, you have to first pick them up, put them somewhere, build a new foundation, and then move them back on the foundation. And there's nowhere on the property where you could temporarily put one of these buildings while you built the foundation for, the relocation. The third item is that even if you're able to do any of those two things, which you cannot, you're not moving them north of the coastal erosion line. And so you're not really buying a lot of erosion protection. You're buying about 20 to 40 feet, which is that's how much it's eroded in the last couple of years. And then there's a real question as to whether or not these 60-year-old two-story timber buildings would actually survive being lifted up and moved. So I thought that was important just to walk through that with the board because we did have a lot of conversation about it. The last item that we included was basically, hey, why don't you just rebuild farther back? And so I thought it would be useful just for the board to get a broad overview of what it costs to build on Dune Road in East Quogue today and to comply with all of the various regulations, both the state, county, and town regulations. You're talking about rebuilding 50,000 square feet of habitable space in order to basically get what you have today. And it's not unreasonable that this number comes out just about $50,000 because it's about $1,000 a foot to build on Dune Road in East Quogue in a manner that is compliant with all of the regulations which have been adopted since 1962. I thought that was important for the board to understand that, it's not reasonable to take a reconstruction of these buildings based upon the current situation. So with that, if you have a question that you'd like me to answer to that material, please do. Otherwise, Ms. Hoag will run through the 5-part test with you.
Aaron, when was the material that you mentioned submitted to us?
Friday.
Okay, Friday before Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, I apologize, but
So
a lot of
I haven't seen it.
material.
Yeah,
Okay.
we didn't get it, so it's a little difficult. And then so I'm not, if we were in town hall, it would have been no problem. But our materials are sent to us. Usually we get them the Friday before the following meeting.
Right.
So we don't have the materials. We didn't have an opportunity to review them. So I just want to mention that, right at the outset. And we certainly want to have an opportunity to review them. For that reason alone, we may need to have another date. But anyway, I just want to mention that.
Good evening, board members. I apologize that you haven't been able to review the materials that were submitted last Friday. And I understand that you'll probably have several questions after reviewing them and listening to what Aram and I have to say this evening. But if I could just briefly touch upon some of the various standards as part of the presentation. Again, my name is Karen Hogue. I'm from the law firm of Toomey Latham. And if I could address the variance standards stated in Town Code Section 330-166C and how the benefit to the applicant in granting the application outweighs the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood and the community. Specifically, there is no undesirable change that is or will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties that will be created by the granting of the variance. The benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some other method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than a variance. The applicant has spent over $500,000 since 1998 on dune restoration, which has been ineffective at stopping the erosion as evidenced by the permits which were necessitated by Round Dune to obtain, and a great financial impact. Round Dune comprises 76 co-op units across 4 separate 2-story buildings. And as Aram stated, relocation of the existing structures is not a feasible alternative for multiple reasons, which Aram had gone through. The cost of reconstructing these structures is estimated to be in the millions, and these dollars and the cost is astronomical and a great financial hardship, which should be considered. The requested variance is not substantial. The applicant merely seeks to maintain the status quo while a regional flood and erosion protection project sponsored by the Army Corps of Engineers and the New York State DEC and Southampton Town is constructed. The erosion of the beach and dune are not self-created, but are the result of the stabilization of the Shinnecock Inlet by the Army Corps and the state. The proposed variance will not have an adverse impact or effect on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. The beach and dune have not been experiencing any environmental degradation as a result of the project. We have diligently been monitoring and reporting the performance of the GeoCube Cure Dune project since the project implementation in January of 2020 and completed in March 31st, 2020. These monitoring reports are in fulfillment of the requirements under the New York State DEC permit, the Southampton Town Coastal Erosion Management permit, as well as the Southampton Trustees permit. And it is worth noting, as Aram said, that a certificate of compliance was issued by the trustees on April 14th, 2021 and submitted to this board. The applicant has submitted monitoring reports from April 2020 after an extra tropical storm generated severe winds. In January 2021, a report was submitted after 2 nor'easters generated winds over 50 miles an hour. In February of 2021, a report was submitted after a nor'easter with wind gusts over 60 miles an hour. And as recently as May 2021, after a March 2nd, 2021 coastal storm generated high wind speeds and tidal surge, a report was submitted. These monitoring reports, which are a continued requirement under the permits, all demonstrate that the restored dune, including sand, beach grass, and geocubes, have protected Round Dune against the tides, winds, and waves during multiple intense storms. And these required monitoring reports also demonstrate that there's been no adverse impact to neighboring properties or the community. So clearly the benefits to the applicant outweighs any detriment to the community. While I understand that you're going to have some additional questions after you review the submission that was made, my guess is that the board is probably going to keep this matter open, or we keep the hearing open to address any further questions that you may have.
I think, speaking for myself, I think we really need an opportunity to review the submissions, and it's, we haven't had a chance to do that. This is not, the simplest of, not a simple application. This is a complex application. And so we certainly want to review and consider the submissions, and, and I suspect there will be follow-up questions. But I'm speaking for myself. Is the rest of the board, are you okay with keeping it open?
I agree.
Yes, I agree.
I agree.
Yep. Okay. So,
Karen, do you know if you submitted, I don't know if I have everything here, but do you know if you submitted an analysis of the coastal erosion standards as well? Usually when people ask for variances from 138, we ask them to go through those standards.
If we haven't submitted it, I will submit it timely before the next meeting.
Okay, just check. It's 138-22.
yeah. And it certainly would be in the applicant's interest to have that information to us if you haven't submitted it already.
Well, one of the reasons that, Mr. Chairman, that we didn't submit that analysis is because what we're asking for is a time extension. We're not asking for the structure to remain permanently. And so the standards there are for a permanent erosion control structure. That's not what we're in front of the board for. We're in front of the board for a time extension of the emergency permit to allow this protective device and structure to remain in place until the Fire Island to Montauk Point Beach project, beach restoration project is completed. And so
So you want an extension to fall of 2023? Is that what you're trying to say, Aaron?
right now, the project is scheduled, the FIM project is scheduled for the fall of 2023. We're trying to move it up to 2022.
I'm not gonna give you a day over 6 months. I'll renew it for 6 months. That's it. I'm sorry, I can't do it.
Okay.
That's my comment. That's it.
And I want to reserve any comments I have until we.
I was down there. I went and saw it, even though Aaron offered to take me down there. I went on my own, walked the beach, saw it all.
It's good exercise.
It was wonderful exercise. But you know what? You know, if we had approved it tonight, that'll get you through this hurricane season, which everybody is predicting it's going to be worse than normal. And I'm not going out to 2023. I can't do it. Sorry.
Well, you know,
but I'm only one guy. You don't need me anyhow. Don't worry about it.
we want everybody on board. I think, you know, the object here is, you know, how do we get from here to there in the most reasonable fashion with all interests being protected? And so, you know, we are showing our diligence in staying on top of the monitoring and providing the information to all agencies in a time, you know, as requested. And, you know, the date that this board decides to extend us to is the decision of the board, and we'll live with it. We're of course asking for the date that the Army Corps is telling us that the project is going to be constructed. If this board says, well, that's no good, you come back in 12 or 18 months and revisit the situation, well, then that's what we have to do.
Yeah, and I'm not sure whether we have 4 votes to grant the relief at all. I don't know that, but again, I'm reserving judgment on anything until I see what you submit. You know,
I'd like to take some time to review the submissions. So at the moment, are the cubes, they're still working as intended and they're covered?
That's correct.
They are. Okay, so I don't see any damage that has been done thus far. And so I'd like to take the time to read the submissions, look at the drone footage, and figure out a time frame, you know, after that.
It's a disaster waiting to happen.
Well, but Keith, what is a disaster waiting to happen? Leaving them in?
Well, you got to worry about erosion on the west side or whatever. You know, we get a hurricane or something, Kate. Come on, let's be real. I mean, I wasn't particularly impressed with everything I saw down there, but I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. But I'm not going to sit there and extend a timeline to the fall of 2023 when, quote unquote, that's when it's going to be taken care of properly. I'm not doing it.
But what are you saying is a disaster waiting to happen? These cubes are buried. So you're saying
well, they've there's some sand up there. The beach grass looked like hell. You know, you know, Go down.
But could
Kate,
you,
go down.
could you,
Kate, go
but could
down
you
there.
see, could you see any of the
No, you couldn't see
geo?
the cubes. It only takes one storm. Come on.
But listen, I'm just asking though, obviously the condition would be if they're exposed, they come out.
They were not, I didn't see any exposure when I was there, but I'm.
Right, so if a
I
variance
don't-
is not
but my
granted, they
gut
have to
said-
come out.
My gut tells me though, we get a pretty good hurricane around us. They're gonna be exposed.
And then they come out.
Yeah,
Okay.
and this is to extend what is an emergency coastal erosion management permit. So I want to be convinced that this is an emergency.
You've had your 6 months and more.
Well, I will posit to the board what I said in the past, just to remind you. Okay, this is an applicant that has spent $500,000 on something that didn't work. Not of their own making, as a result of an act of government, which is eroding their beach. They then were threatened with extermination by the ocean. They spent $400,000 to put these structures in to protect their buildings. They have diligently done everything that every agency has asked of them. There is no observable adverse environmental impact anywhere. And now you want them to, not you want them. It would seem unreasonable to me to say, tear them out, leave yourself defenseless while the government agencies decide whether they're going to show up and fix the problem they created in 2022 or 2023 or 2024. I don't think that's reasonable.
Well, I think you're forgetting that when they were first installed, they had a timeline and you just are ignoring that altogether. 500
Absolutely not. We are diligently following every aspect of it. We have the New York State DEC has given us a permit for them to stay in permanently. The Southampton trustees have given us the same permit. In the town, we're just asking for an extension of time to stay alive between now and then. I don't think that is an unreasonable request.
I'm not trying to deny you that, Aaron, but listen, we get a storm and those things start to be exposed, then get erosion on the west side and everything else. Give you 6 months, come back and we'll take another look. Let's see what happens.
Well, listen, please review our materials. Please listen to what I said, and use the judgment. I have a lot of confidence in this board. I've been in front of this board and its various incantations for 25 or 30 years. You guys have always done a really good job, in my opinion. I think you'll do it again.
Well, thank you. We're going to do our best, but we're going to consider what you submitted, and then we'll reconvene and follow up. But in the meantime, wanted to ask any other questions of members of the board, or Katie or Anthony. Anthony, do you want to add anything to this discussion?
No, and as I always said, in this matter, we will defer to Marty's office for any comments, and Janice as well. I'm sure she provided comments.
Okay. All right. Okay. Is there anyone from the public who is waiting to be heard this evening on
Not
Zoom?
at all. No public.
No one here for Round Dune Inc. for 101 Dune Road East Quad.
No one here at all.
Okay. So then the other question is, when would you like to come back?
Well, we don't have any other materials to submit, so it's at your pleasure, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Candace, do we have room on the next meeting agenda, 6/17?
Not on the next one.
Not on the next one, so it'll have to be 7/1. So we would move to continue the public hearing on, I'll let Brian make the motion on July 1st.
That'll be my motion.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Two people said second at the same time.
Take your pick.
Let me see. Was it Mr. Tuthill and Mr. Kelly?
I didn't second it.
You didn't second it. Okay.
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Kelly did. Okay. So Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Mr. Kelly.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Ms. Kern.
She's muted.
Yep, Susan, you're muted.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Believe Mr. Tuthill is the other person.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you both for your comments this evening. We'll
Thank
see you on
you.
July 1st.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, thank you, Mr. Chairman and Board.
Have a good rest of your night.
You as well.
Decisions before 8.
Yep. Okay. I have two. Should I start or would anyone else like to go first?
You start. You start.
Okay. All right, I have a couple, these are a couple of amendments. I have an amendment for the application of 90 WGL. This is property located at Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-103-224. On May 6, 2021, by decision number D021040, this board granted a variance in connection with a proposed covered patio with roof deck. This decision is being amended to correct a scrivener's error, to wit, the granting of a front yard setback where it is a rear yard setback that was requested, discussed, and should ultimately have been granted. Therefore, decision number D021040 is hereby amended to grant the relief from Town Code 33011 Residential Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations for a principal rear yard setback of 62.9 feet where 100 feet is required for a proposed covered patio with roof deck. All other provisions of decision number D021040 shall remain in full force and effect.
Second.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Mr. Tuthill.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Kelly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. I next have another amendment. This is the application of David and Robin Santora for property located at Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-359-439.2. On May 6, 2021, by decision number D021042, this board granted a variance in connection with a proposed two-lot subdivision. This decision is being amended to correct a scrivener's error, to wit, the date of the survey and pyramid sketch. Now, therefore, decision number D021042 is hereby amended to refer to structures as shown on the survey and pyramid sketch prepared by David H. Fox, surveyor, dated July 25th, 2019, last revised February 25th, 2019. All other provisions of decision number D012042 shall remain in full force and effect.
Second.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Kelly.
Aye.
Mr. Tuthill.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. That's all I have.
Okay. I have a decision on
Okay.
the matter of the application of 80 Cobb Owner LLC, property located at 80 Cobb Isle Road, Watermill, New York, tax map 900-163, lot 18. I'm going to read the requested relief at the end. At the public hearing, Bruce Anderson of Suffolk Environmental Consulting, Inc., agent for the applicant, testified that the owners wish to redevelop the property with a new single-family dwelling and pool. They intend on installing an upgraded septic system and will be removing the existing house, pool, deck, and fencing. Existing improvements are closer to Burnett's Creek and wetlands than the proposed improvements. Per an agreement with the town, the front yard of the property is on Burnett's Creek side of the lot. And Mr. Anderson further testified that the project has received approvals from the Conservation Board and the DEC, and the proposed improvements will be in full compliance with the town's wetlands requirements as opposed to the existing improvements. Meets the 5-part test, therefore, in the interest of justice and for the reasons set forth herein, this board grants applicant relief from Town Code 330-83K yards as it relates to 330-11 Residential Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations for a principal rear yard setback of 30 feet where 35 feet is permitted for a proposed 2-story dwelling with attached understory garage as shown on architectural renderings made by Blaze McCoy Architecture dated February 1st, 2021, as well as survey made by Borelski Land Surveying last dated February 1st, 2021, which show all proposed improvements. The grant of this foregoing relief is further conditioned upon the applicant obtaining all necessary permits or approvals by the town of Southampton Building Department.
Second.
Mr. Kelly.
Aye.
Mr. Tuttle.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa.
Recuse myself on that application.
Chair votes aye. Do we have any more?
I have in the matter of Brendan Sullivan and Dorothy Sullivan, 38 Cove Drive, Noyak, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-9376. The subject premises is approximately 7,500 square feet. It's located in the R10 district. The board finds this subject application to be a type 2 action under SECRA. And at the public hearing, Paul Capis, architect for the project, appeared for the applicant, requesting a minor extension to the front porch. The board finds that the granting of this variance does pass the 5-part test, and therefore grants relief from Town Code 330-11 for a principal front yard setback of 19.7 feet, where 30 feet is required, for a proposed 1-story covered porch addition to an existing dwelling, as shown on the survey by Robert W. Ott, from Municipal Land Survey PC dated December 12th, 2020, and architectural plans by Paul Capis dated 3/22/2020, which are included with it.
Wait, hold on. Mike, what did you say that the setback was?
19 feet 7 inches.
Okay, and I had sent you a follow-up email that it's referring to the site plan and architectural plans prepared by Paul G. Capis, last dated March 22nd, 2021. There was no survey. So just amend that.
There was no survey, so take out the Ott piece? Because that Ott survey was in those architectural plans.
I know.
But we're not going to
So it's
refer
just
to
the
that.
site plan. Nope, because the site plan is just referring to the survey.
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
It was like
Okay.
one big plan.
Yep.
Right. Okay, so I will make that amendment. So, and it is March 22nd, 2021, correct?
Correct.
I'll second that.
And yes, with no survey.
Okay. Mr.
Coming
Daly,
your way. Aye.
Mr. DeSessa,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Kelly. Cornelius,
Hi,
oh,
I'm
you're
sorry,
muted now.
I'm
Okay.
muted.
That's okay. No, you're all right. Mr. Tuthill,
Aye.
chair votes aye. I had just read the decision on the amendment on Santora. I want to make a motion to withdraw that decision and just reread it because there was a typo. In it.
There was another typo in the dates.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, so the prior decision amendment is withdrawn, and now I will do the replacement. Okay, so again, this is for the application of David and Robin Santora. This is for property located at tax map number 900-359-439.2 on May 6, 2021 by decision number D021042. This board granted a variance in connection with a proposed 2-lot subdivision. This decision is being amended to correct a scrivener's error to wit the date of the survey and permit sketch. Now therefore, decision number D021042 is hereby amended to refer to structures as shown on the survey and pyramid sketch prepared by David H. Fox, surveyor, dated July 25th, 2019, last revised February 25th, 2021. I had previously said 2019. All other provisions of decision number D012042 shall remain in full force and effect.
Second.
Mr. DeSessa,
Aye.
Mr. Tuthill,
Aye.
Mr. Kelly,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
chair votes aye.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Do we have a motion to close?
Motion to close.
Motion to close.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Katie.
Everybody have a good night.
And